Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Hey Bart.
Hi,
So it's
Lou.
Iris calling from Paris, actually. I'm
From
in France.
Oh, okay. This is Iris. First-time
Okay.
caller?
Yeah.
Oh,
First
cool.
time
Welcome.
caller. I recently subscribed to Crush Live Poker.
Did you ever play
On there
at
I'm
Did you ever play at the Aviation Club before it closed?
no, actually I only started playing a year ago and
Oh,
all
okay.
of them had closed.
Okay.
There's only one place open now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at Clichy, so that's where I played this hand.
Okay. So what level is this
Okay.
hand at?
We're playing 1-2
1, 2 euros.
and 1-2 euros.
Okay.
And here there's no cap, which
Okay.
is which is always a bit interesting because usually people will buy in for anywhere around 100 to 300, maybe four.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be some regulars that are quite good that buy in for over 1K.
Okay.
So I bought in for 1K and have lost about 300 at this point. So I'm sitting there with a stack of 700.
Okay.
And the villain in this guy is a young guy with a stack of almost 2K.
Okay.
So he covers. And this table is, I guess, nothing ordinary. It's pretty loose. Nothing. I've been getting out of line quite a bit here.
Okay.
And so onto the hand, I have ace queen in the cutoff, ace of clubs, queen of diamonds.
Okay.
After four limpers, I make it 16, which is a move that I've been doing, quite a lot. And the guy on my left, my direct left, which is the villain in this hand, has 3-bet me to 54.
So you make it 8x over 4 limpers, basically. What's the standard open size, just out of curiosity, usually, as a first person in? What are people raising to?
Uh, Anywhere between 12 to 16, maybe 20.
As the first person in the hand?
First person usually makes it around 15, I would say 15 or 16.
Okay, because I mean that's what I was gonna assume with these stack sizes. So when you have 4 limpers, I think 16 is actually kind of a small raise in terms of,
All the limpers had stacks of around 200.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they're all super short. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. All right, so you get 3-bet here to 54, and then what? It gets folded back around to you?
Yeah, and I've never seen this guy 3-bet before. I've seen him once before on another occasion where he's been sitting next to me and just not playing any hands.
Mm-hmm.
He's still sitting there with a stack of 2K and always buys in with a huge stack and doesn't play any hands. I've never seen him show down any hands.
Well, I
So
think
at this
that
point, I don't feel so good.
yeah, this is where it gets a little bit confusing when I've talked about pre-flop stuff. And, Conlon Ma and I did for the top section a pre-flop podcast where we were talking about optimal defense ranges to 3-bets. But I think where some people get a little bit confused at the lower levels is that, a hand like Ace Queen, I would certainly call from out of position to a 3-bet if I knew that the 3-better could be somewhat wide, or sometimes will 3-bet hands like 8s, 9s, 10s. If you're dealing with
Mhm.
like an older guy that's never 3-bet before and his range is queens, kings, aces,
Right.
and ace king,
And
you
I
could
fold.
just fold. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It sounds
The thing about
crazy,
this
but
guy is, no, I don't think so at all.
yeah.
I think I got the feeling that he was kind of sensing that I was getting out of line.
Okay, so you
And
have
I'm
been
like a
opened in
girl
quite
that's,
a bit. Hmm.
yeah, and I have a pretty bad image. People think I bluff a lot more than I actually do. I'm like mid 20s.
Okay.
I guess I just don't have a very good image. People like to look me up to play pots with me.
Okay.
And I really don't have a desire to play this hand out of position.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to just flat, so I make it 138.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that I
Mm.
mean, you're basically turning ace queen into a bluff here, and I think it's strong enough. I mean, I guess you could say that if you just want to bluff him off of like maybe the bottom part of his range, and you
Hmm.
didn't want to take it for a flat. But if I was gonna play this hand, I would call way more than I would 4-bet here.
And just give up
Usually
when
we
you
don't
miss?
usually we don't 4-bet as a bluff with ace queen. unless, I'd rather do it with like a hand like ace three or something like that, where you actually were getting out
I
of
see.
line
Okay.
and you use like a blocker. Usually, if you're going to continue with ace queen, you can call. But I mean, I guess you could say in an extreme scenario, you could possibly four bet him off of a pair that he is three betting you, like nines through jacks, but that doesn't sound consistent with his history because you're saying you're getting out of line, so I don't really envision that happening all that much.
Mm-hmm. And ace king would be the same as ace queen in this scenario.
Ace king would be played for a flat, I think, a lot too, because I just
Mm-hmm.
think that you can continue on quite a bit and you're not worried about being dominated all that much. Now, if a guy was short and you just wanted to get it in, fine, but I would hate to basically four bet and then fold ace king with this dynamic. Now this is also different. Like, yeah, it's you're 350 big blinds effective, but I think it's a little bit different than that because of the large sizing pre. I think the deeper that you are and the smaller the blind size, the less important it is when you look at it in terms of blinds because that opening
Mm-hmm.
size is so much larger, right? At 510 we're not
Yeah.
opening as a standard open to 8x. So it's a lot different.
Right.
So you four bet to
Yeah.
130.
Right. I did that. Yeah. And he calls.
Okay.
We have a flop of ace 6 6 with a heart draw.
So it's the flop is ace of hearts, six of hearts, X, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the pot is about maybe $270 and you've got maybe 570 left. So you're dealing with about two pot size bets here left, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is just one of these scenarios where you could probably go either way with it. I mean, when people look at this on the surface, they usually will check here. You could go check
Oh.
check and you could go for two streets, or you could bet small and then try to get another street on the river if it goes check check, or you could just bet small all three streets. But I feel like ace king is a fairly large portion of this guy's range, so it's not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is a little bit unbalanced to check here with a hand here like ace queen. But if he ever three bet you with ace x and you have a better kicker, then that's kind of interesting too. But if you choose a bet sizing, it certainly has to be very, very small.
Right. And I don't think that he's calling my four bet with a crappy ace. I
Okay,
think he would
right.
just fold.
But yeah, I mean, you did
Yeah.
sort of make it small. I mean, people don't really know about pot odds all that much. I feel like, in the at small stakes. But I mean, when you open to 16 and he makes it 54 and then you make it 130, the
I
pot.
actually made it 140.
Oh,
I'm
140.
sorry.
So the pot is going to
Yeah,
be like
same, same.
220, 80 for 230, 80 for him to call. So he's actually getting 3-1 in position. But I know a lot of low stakes players don't think of it that way.
I'm sure he was thinking that. I I was thinking here, I'm betting with my entire range, or am I? If I have kings, what do I do here?
Well, you probably wouldn't bet with kings. And that's sort of, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, I don't want to get too much into optimal play and things like that at the lower stakes because it's not really all that relevant, but I could sort of see checking your entire range here with the exception of maybe some airball bluffs. But checking your entire value range, and that
I
includes
see.
pocket aces here too, could be the play.
I see. Yeah, that didn't really cross my mind.
hmm
I bet out. I bet out 135,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he called.
here's the thing: like when you bet 135 here, which is it's about half the size of the pot, and then
Mm,
he basically makes the call or a little bit under. Now the pot's going to be about 570, and if I'm doing this right, you have
right about
about
5 cents.
maybe 400 or so left in your stack, something like that, like right off the top. I
Hmm.
mean, the graphics on the YouTube will be correct after this is posted, but I would just tend to bet a little bit smaller. But okay, so Hero bets
Okay.
130 and V1 calls. Okay.
He calls, and at this point, I don't feel so good about my hand. I was really worried about ace king for some reason.
Well, see, that's what I was actually
He's been a.
I was just going to bring that up, Iris, that you never
Mm,
want to get into a scenario where you choose a bet size or an action where when your opponent calls and you're betting for value,
and
you're
I'm
now
committed.
scared. So if you ever think that
Yeah.
when you bet 130 and the guy calls and now you're worried, then you probably haven't made the right play. With the bet size, or maybe you shouldn't bet at all. You see what I'm saying?
I see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Should I be worried about ace king every time here?
I don't
I feel like if
necess
I checked, he could get me to fold this hand, as crazy as that sounds, and I didn't want that.
Yeah, but what is his range of three betting you and then calling a four bet? Like you said, it's probably not ace X. So it's probably going to be
Tens
like
plus, I think.
ace queen plus and maybe like tens plus. So if a guy's got tens plus, he's not going to suddenly turn that hand into a bluff and go nuts. He's going to want to try to get to showdown with it, right? As
Oh, that's
cheaply as
right. Yeah.
possible. So that's
Hmm.
why in this particular scenario, we wouldn't really have to worry about checking and then getting moved off of our hand. The other thing too is that a lot of times you don't even get burned for maximum value if you're up against ace king. You might call a bet on the turn, and then the guy might check back ace king because it's 1-2, and you don't even you don't even lose the most that you should have lost. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So now,
Yeah.
so now we put 260 in on the flop, and the pot's about 575 or something like that with the limpers.
Hmm.
And now what's the turn?
It's a five. It's an offsuit five.
Okay, no backdoors or anything.
And no, I don't. No.
Okay.
And I, for some reason, go all in.
Yeah, I'm not that. See, the reason why I think that that is definitely a mistake because now you're probably only going to get called here by ace king
I see.
unless he thinks that you're so crazy that he's going to call you with like pocket kings, pocket jacks. But to be honest with you, I think that pocket kings, people just don't want to, like, he might just go all in with that pre-flop. So that's a pretty small portion of his range if you felt like you thought the table was out of line. So I tend to dismiss that. So now you're looking at like maybe tens through queens, and it's going to take a really, really bad image for you to get called off when you four bet and then move all in. See what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. He's pretty deep stacked and he's a thinking player, and I'm not sure if he would jam pre-flop.
Okay.
I think he would want to keep my bluffs in. I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough, but I still think it's going to be really hard pressed for you to get called here by worse if he has pocket kings. Now, you might get called by an ace if you think he's going to, but you said that you don't think he would like three bet ace jack and then
I don't
call a
think he
four
would
bet.
have an ace that's not ace king here.
Right. Well,
Maybe ace queen, but then
then that's the
yeah.
problem here with this line. It's actually too strong for your own hand strength on the board.
Right, yeah.
So
I don't
what
know why, but at the time I was just so afraid of getting blown off my hand if I checked.
you don't want, yeah, but you don't. Again, when you look at, like, you're dealing with very, very tight ranges here, so you're never really going to get blown off the best hand here because all of the hands that you beat are like they're all going to be pairs that are just going to try to get to a cheap
Mhm.
showdown. People don't turn their hands into
Okay, yeah.
bluffs. Do you see what I'm saying? So what ended up
Right.
happening? Did he call and he had ace king or what?
Oh no, he folded,
Okay.
and he was talking to me after. He said he had nines, which I
Yeah.
thought he would be having jacks plus here, but nines is the same as kings, you know?
Hmm.
I don't know. He says if he had kings, he would look me up because he blocks ace king.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough to say. I don't necessarily know if that's true because how often at 1-2 do you see somebody four bet go bet all in and someone's going to call with kings on an ace high board, even if he
Right,
understands
right.
blockers, right? But
Yeah, that's
again, I
true.
think that
Yeah.
this hand specifically with ace queen against a range of pairs and ace king is probably a two street value hand. So you want to play it as maybe a small bet on the flop, a check on the turn, or a check on the flop, and then a bet.
Yeah, I see. The thing that confused me about myself, and I was wondering, like, this is why I called. I was wanting to get some of your input on this. I know that when you're betting, you should be aware why you're betting, and
Right.
you should know if you're doing it for value or as a bluff.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
find myself in some situations where I just don't know.
You don't know if you're betting for value or as a bluff.
Yeah, because I'm looking back on this hand, right? And I only get called by ace king here
Well, then you're
or
not
ace
betting.
queen, but then
Well. That's the problem here is that if you're not betting for value and you're not betting for as a bluff, so if you can't get called by worse and you can't get better to fold, then should you be betting?
right,
The answer is no. You know what I mean? Not all
right.
in, at
I'm
least.
not the I'm not the only type of person that makes this bad move, and I wanted to understand a bit about the psychology behind this. Like, I don't really know what makes people do this. You know, I
Well, you know what happens? You're still with me? Oh, we lost her. Oh, she somehow dropped off. But I'll finish off the call. What ends up happening is that a lot of people at the lower levels, especially when they're from out of position, they just don't know what to do. So instead of checking, they just bet for no reason, and that's really what the issue. It seems like you're back on the line. I don't know if you caught that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just got back on.
so, what ends up happening a lot of times, especially from out of position, is that at the lower stakes, people just don't know what to do, so they just bet. And it's exactly
Mm.
your psychology, the way that you were talking this hand through. You didn't really know, you
Yeah.
didn't want to get blown off your hand. You knew that if you bet, though, you could only get called by worse, but there was something instinctually just to say, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to bet. And we see that quite a bit at the lower stakes. And
Mhm.
especially from out of position. You don't really see it in position on the river because they will just check it back. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But thanks for the
Yeah.
call. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out